Hello, my name is Cristo Saragi. My number study is 24055310079. I want to explain the manufacturing engineer and technology for chapter 2. Introduction is purpose is mechanical testing evaluates how material respond to force, deformation, and environmental factor. Manufacturing impact ensures chosen material withstand stresses during production and service, and decision support is built engineer is selecting material and process for durability and efficiency. In manufacturing operation, numerous parts and components are formed into different shapes by applying external forces to workpiece, typical by means of various tools and dies. Common examples of such operation are forging turbine discs, extruding fourier components of aluminum leaders, drawing wire for marking nails, and rolling metal to make seats for car bodies. The tensions. The tension test is the most common method for determining the mechanical properties of material such as strength, ductility, toughness, elastic modulus, and strain hardening capability. This method is specimen pulled and pulled down axially until fracture producing stress strain data. Key properties is elastic modulus, yield strength, ultimate chain strength or UTS, ductility toughness. Engineering relevance is provides data for the design, safety, process limits, and quality assurance. For example, is the fabric of a backpack strap must have high tensile strength so it doesn't snap. When carrying heavy books, stress strain curves. As the load is increased, the specimen begins to undergo non-linear elastic deformation at a stress called the proportional limit. At that point, the stress and strain are no longer proportional as they were in the linear elastic region, but when unloaded, the specimen still returns to its original shapes. Permanent or plastic deformation occurs when the yield stress Y of the material is researched. The yield stress and other property of various metallic and non-metallic materials are given in table 2 cross 2. Ductility, an important behavior observed with the during a tension test is ductility, the extent of plastic deformation that a material undergoes before fracture. There are two common measures of ductility: true stress and true strain. Engineer stress is based on the original cross-sectional area AO of the specimen. However, the instantaneous cross-sectional area of the specimen becomes smaller as it elongates, just as the area of a rubber and dust. Thus, engineer stress does not represent the actual stress to which the specimen is subjected. True stress is defined as the ratio of the load P to the actual or instantaneous. Hence, true cross-sectional area A of the specimen rho rho P per A. For true strain, first consider the length of the specimen as consisting of the increments of instantaneous change in length. Then using calculus, it can be shown that the true strain or natural or logarithmic strain is calculated as n in I per I no 0. Construction of stress strain curves. The procedure for construction and engineering stress strain curve to take the load elongation course. For figure 2 cross 5a, also figure 2 cross 2, and then to divide the load or vertical axis by the original cross-sectional area AO and the elongation or horizontal axis by the original gauge length. Because AO and LO are constant, the engineering stress strain curve obtained for shown in figure 2 cross 5b has the same shapes as the load elongation curve shown in figurative 2 cross 5a. Many operations in manufacturing, particularly process such as forging, rolling, and extrusion, are performed with the workpiece subjected to compressive stresses. The compression test, in which the specimen is subjected to a compressive load, gives information that is useful for estimating force and power requirement in the processes. This test is usually carried out by compressing a solid cylindrical specimen between two well-lubricated flat dies or plates. The setup is specimen is compressed axially until deformation or failure. Observed behavior is material may exhibit buffering, burling, or crushing depending on ductility. Elimination friction at plated specimen interface can distort results. For example, is the rubber in a car tire is tested under compression because it must handle the car's weight without collapsing. Torsion. The test method generally used to determine property of material in shear is the torsion test. In order to obtain an approximately uniform stress and strain distribution along the cross-section, this test is usually performed on the thin tubular specimen. The torsion specimen usually has a reduced cross-section in order to confine the deformation to a narrow zone. Test principle is cylindrical specimen is twisted along its axis to measure shear stress strain. Application is critical for safe gear fasteners and components under torsional loads. Key parameter is modulus of rigidity, shear yield strength, fracture behavior. For example, is a screwdriver handle needs to resist torsion so it doesn't crack when you twist it hard to loosen a tight screw. Bending or flexure. A commonly used method for bridling material is the bend or flexure test, which usually involves a specimen that has a rectangular cross-section and is supported as shown in figure 2 cross 11. The load is applied vertically at either 1 point or 2 point. As a result, tests are referred to as 3-point and 4-point bending respectively. For example is the plastic rules students use in class may snap when bent too far. That's bending failure. Hardness. Hardness is a commonly used property. It gives a general indication of the strength of the material and of its resistance to scratching and to wear. Hardness is usually defined as resistance to permanent indentation. Thus, steel is harder than aluminum and aluminum is harder than lead. Hardness tests several test methods using different interior material and shapes. For figure 2 cross 12 have been developed to measure the hardness of material. Commonly used hardness tests are described next. Fatigue. Fatigue test methods involve testing specimens under various states of stress, usually a combination of tension on and bending. The test is carried out at various stages, amplitudes, or as the number of cycles or n it takes to cause total failure of the specimen or part is recorded. Stress amplitude is divided as the maximum stresses in tension and compression to which the specimen is subjected. For example is a paperclip bent back and forth a few times before breaking. That's fatigue failure. Creep. Creep is the permanent elongation of a component under a static load maintained for a period of time. This phenomenon occurs in metal and certain non-metallic materials such as thermoplastics and rubbers, and it can occur at any temperature. Lead, for example, creeps under a constant tensile load at room temperature. However, for metal and the alloys, creep of any significance occurs at elevated temperature, beginning at about 200 Celsius or 400 Fahrenheit for aluminum alloys and about 50,000 Celsius or 28 Fahrenheit for refractory alloys. For example is a plastic chair left outside in the sun for years may start to sag and lose shapes. That's creep. Impact. In many manufacturing operations and machinery components material are subjective to impact or dynamic loading. For example, in high-speed metalworking operations such as heating to make bolt heads, and in rock forging, a typical impact test consists of placing a notch specimen in an impact tester and breaking the specimen with a swinging pendulum. For example is a football helmet is tested for impact strength to make sure it protects the head when hit during a game. Failure and fracture of material in manufacturing and in service. Failure is one of the most important aspects of material behavior because it directly influences the selection of a material for a particular application, the methods of manufacturing, and the service life of the component. There are two general types of failure. Is one, fracture through either internal or external cracking. Fracture is further subclassified into two general categories, is ductile and brittle. For figures 2 cross 20 and 2 cross 21. 2. Buckling as shown in figure 2 cos 20b. Residual stresses when workpieces are subjected to plastic deformation that is not uniform to the party. They develop residual stresses that are stresses that remain within a part after it has been formed and all the external forces are applied to tools and dies are removed. Reduction and elimination of residual stresses. Residual stresses can be received or eliminate either by stresses relief and milling or by a further deformation of the part, such as stretching it. Given sufficient time, residual stresses may also diminish at room temperature or by relaxation of residual stresses. The time required for relaxation can be greatly reduced by raising the temperature of the workpiece. For example, is a glass cup may suddenly crack when hot water is poured in because of residual stresses from the manufacturing process. And the last, work, heat and temperature. Almost all the mechanical work in plastic deformation is converted into heat. This conversion is not complete because a portion of this work is stored within the deformed material as elastic energy, known as stored energy. It is generally 5 to 10% of the total energy input. In some alloys, however, it may be as high as 30% in a simple frictionless deformation process, and assuming that work is completely converted into heat. The theoretical for adiabatic temperature rise T is given by delta T U per P C. For example, is when cooking noodles, the stiff pasta becomes soft and flexible in hot water. A simple example of temperature effect on material. Thank you.